Do you think by having a fur ban would create more anti-Semitism? Because you have thousands of people right here in this community that wear fur.
I think those are we have a religious exemption, and I think those are separate issues. And we put the religious exemption in right away when we heard from the Jewish community that the Strymel hats were important, and immediately we said we want to make sure that your community is respected, and we did it instantly. So I think the answer is no. Yes.
Speaker, if there's one model to fight anti-Semitic violence attacks and slurs, which has also been increased on the subway and on the street against visible Jewish men. And the second question, would you sign on to the bill to increase security outside the house of worship?
I'm supportive of ensuring that houses of worship are protected. I want to just look at it, and I'm working with Councilmember Deutsch on the funding issue. I'm looking at the parameters of it, but we need to ensure that any house of worship is protected. And as Councilmember Deutsch said, the NYPD may not be the only folks that can do that, so we have to think about it in a creative and thoughtful way. No one should have fear in going to Sabbath prayers or going to their mosque or going to their church. Everyone needs to feel safe, and that's a conversation that we have to have on how to best achieve that. On the issue of what's the best way, you know, I'm not a law enforcement expert or official, but I would say that the NYPD is working really, really hard, and part of the way to do that is to work with local communities, to gain the trust of local communities so that communities feel like the NYPD is a partner with them. And I feel like Captain Hollywood being here today and what we've heard from the police commissioner and speaking out against this vile anti-Semitism is a step in the right direction. But no one should feel like, whether it's on the streets of Williamsburg or Crown Heights, or it's on the subway of New York City, or it is defacing a synagogue, no one should feel that's acceptable in any way whatsoever. So we have to make sure that that is the message that we send, and that's why we're standing united here today. Yes?
So you talked about these being very different, all different colors and persuasions. But the fact that it's happening in these very diverse communities, does that mean that there is some sort of breakdown of community relations or need to bring all sides together for greater understanding of each other?
I think that at the community leader level, that's happening, and I'm sure Chaim and Matthew and other folks and Rabbi Nieder can speak about this, but I think at the community leader level, that's happening. You heard from Eli Cohen that he works with Jeffrey Davis, who is an African-American community leader, on going into schools and talking about these issues. I think that's one of the great stories about Crown Heights, is the peaceful coexistence that we've seen in the aftermath of a really painful time in New York City, of community leaders coming together to achieve that balance. But I don't know if that always trickles down to everyone in a community. And so to have that conversation, I think, is a helpful conversation to have, but at the elected official level, at the community leader level, at the faith leader level, that's what we're seeing. Rabbi Niederman?
I just want to jump in. We had, 2 weeks ago, we had a gathering of law enforcement and elected officials, and I actually asked that for the ability to bringing us together, going into the schools. We have done that already, and we want to do and must do it again. We asked, and the Councilman Reynosa said he's going to arrange that.
What do you, on a macro level, I mean, this is not white supremacy that's happening on the streets. It's a one-off, somebody gets punched, somebody is anti-Semitic, slurred out. How do you compare that to what's going on the national level? What's happening here on the macro level?
I think the speaker said there's so many issues contributing to that. And again, as I said before, newspapers are very helpful and important, but they have to be very careful not to cross the line, not feed anti-Semitism. And I think on the local level, when you see that and you connect that to cases like measles or something else, which is the same as all other communities, this brings out the locals who were afraid to do that before, saying now is the time to do that. And the message that the speaker and the elected officials brought said, no, now is not the time. We are going to stop that.
Yes, I'm going to go Ivan first, and then I'll come back over here.
So jumping off on measles, do you think that the health department and the mayor are doing enough to send that message, saying that the measles outbreak is not a Orthodox Jewish problem? This is a misinformation problem that's perpetuated by people who just are misinformed and not the community.
I'm not remembering exactly everything that the health commissioner and the mayor said, but I think it's been very clear from, I know the mayor has said things on this subject, I don't remember the most recent things he said, and I think you've heard it from elected officials, that this is an issue where you've seen leaders in this community speak out and say, get vaccinated. You have had some really irresponsible fraudsters who have infiltrated communities and have spread misinformation and tried to scare people about the efficacy and science behind measles. And so to try to use that and say that this is a Jewish problem, again, I think feeds into this culture that we're trying to disrupt, which is part of the reason why we're having this press conference today. But we need to keep reminding people, number one, get vaccinated, because there's nothing religious about not getting vaccinated. And you've heard that from Rabbi Niederman and other rabbis in the community. And number two, for the public, this is not a Jewish problem. This is right now a concentration in the Jewish community, and the media, some of the media has told the story on how that happened, and people that have come back from places where they didn't eradicate measles, and they've come back to Brooklyn, and that's what's happened. But we have to keep speaking out on this. Yes.